Oh, hello. Welcome to the stream. It's Wednesday, and we're building my favorite thing. We're building rock paper scissors. Continuing on from last week, this is currently my favorite project, probably because I have a terrible attention span, and it's also the newest project. So let's get going. Streams are up. It looks like. Just gonna check in on things here. We are up on the Twitch, and we are up on the YouTube. Cool. I can even hear myself twice. All right, let's party. Where did we leave off since last time? Well, if you're one of those two people that read the You Can't Digest on LinkedIn, we had a recap of what went down last week. Like last Wednesday was our first episode with rock paper scissors, which we're going to continue on Wednesdays for a while. We built a data model and we built a flow to determine who's the winner of a rock paper scissors game without giving away any details security wise between the two players. And today, I think we're going to test that who won flow, make sure it's actually working, because it looks like it's working, but I don't know if we've actually confirmed that it's working. And then we're going to try to build a new game flow so that Salesforce users can start their own rock, paper, scissors battles with each other. So let's get going. All right. Backlog is here in my my Visual Studio code. This is also the README, and this code should be up on GitHub. If you go to YCDTOSF.com, everything's up there. Trying to share the love, and you guys can go look at what you want, take what you want, tell me what's wrong. A lot of it's wrong, but who cares? We're having fun. Let's get our Scratch org up. Do a quick rundown of where we're at with things here. Okay, Scratch org. Here we go. Got our app, RPS. We've got moves in our app. So what can you play? You can play rock, you can play paper, you can play scissors, obviously. Within those moves, we have something called outcomes. There's a move object, there's an outcome object, and our outcome object tells us between two things, between two moves, which one wins. So for every move, there's a winning and a losing outcome in this game of rock, paper, scissors, where we only have three options. If we were to have more options, we probably would have more winning and losing outcomes, which maybe we'll do that later. But for now, outcomes on each. Sorry, I'm looking at the outcome. So let me go back to a move. Here's rock, and then rock breaks scissors, thereby making rock the winner. Paper covers rock, thereby making rock the loser. And then we also have this move player object, which we're going to be working on a bit today. There's also a game object, because we need some state. No matter how fast a rock, paper, scissors game goes off, you still need to track the fact that a game was played. A game is played between two players. So we've got a player object, which is basically a bridge or a junction between our game and our users. So that's our player here. And then we have one extra object, which if we didn't care about security, we wouldn't need. But we do care about security because we don't want people snooping on each other's moves in the system. So we have another object called a player move. So this is where we can apply security and say, hey, player one is not allowed to see player two's move until after the game has concluded. This is where we kind of left off and started building our flow, which I'm going to bring that up too because we're going to do some more work in there. So our flow will open eventually, and we will do stuff with it. And player move, after created, okay, what have we got here? So this this is record triggered flow when a player move record is created. So my working theory is when you play a game, somebody's going to be able to come. This is what we're going to build next. We're going to build a new game flow. So I am player one, or I am user one, and I want to challenge user two to a game of rock, paper, scissors. I need some way to come in and say, I challenge you, and I'm going to pick who that other you is. I can only pick one. So, and it can't be me. I can't play myself. I guess you can play yourself, but that would be weird. So I'm going to pick some other player, and then magic's going to happen. That action is going to create a game record, like we've got here. It's going to create 2 player records and associate me, the creator of the game, and whoever I pick to play against as player records. It's not going to create player move records yet. We just want to see that we have 2 players that are playing and who they are, and then we'll start dealing with actually making our plays. So what we have here already built is the outcome of that interaction, which would be I play, I make my move, which ends up as a player move record here. So in this example, U1, player 1, their move was rock. And then U2, their move was scissors. So U1 won and U2 lost. That is what this flow is deciding. And it's deciding based on some conditions of going and getting the other player. The other player is kind of contextual, right? It's like whoever didn't, the opposite player than whoever created the player move record. Go and find the other one, see what the state of that is. Have they played? If they haven't played yet, we have a pending status. So we don't do anything in that case. Well, we do one thing. We update we just update the condition for the first person who plays to say, I have played. And that's that. If I'm the second player in, and I can therefore see that the other player has played. So I'm looking at the other player status as played. This is where action happens. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. And then if there's any other outcome, which I don't know if we even have any other statuses, it will flow down the right side. Nothing's going to happen. We're done. You're either pending or you played at that point. Down the center is where, all right, one player has already played a move. Second, the other player is now coming in with their move, and we've got to decide who wins. So we've got to load the other player's move. We've got to load the outcomes. The outcomes, again, they're like our dictionary of who wins what. And then we've got to evaluate those outcomes down here in probably a pretty, I guess, primitive way of doing this. We load the outcomes to determine who the winner and loser is. We only load the outcomes based on the data that we have, right? So I know each player's move. So I can search for or I can query outcomes that says, hey, bring me back all the outcomes where rock beats scissors or scissors beats rock. Because I, the system, the flow, know all the information. The players don't know. They have no idea what the other person played at this point, but the system does. So it can go and grab these values. And it's clever enough that we're never going to get more than one record when we run this. Because I don't have a condition where rock beats scissors and a record where scissors beats rock. That just doesn't happen. So the nice thing about this is it guarantees that we always get one and only one record back, assuming that we've got all the permutations of our outcomes accounted for. And again, if we were to add more conditions, like Lizard and Spock, as an example, extension of rock, paper, scissors, we would need more permutations, and but we would still have a catalog of what wins and what loses. So that's kind of the easy part, getting the winner. Then it's evaluating, well, what's the outcome here? Who won, who lost. I have a tie condition. Both players played the same thing. I have a winning condition for the incoming player, and I have a winning condition for the outcoming player. And I just realized that I don't think tie is accounted for right now, because we would not get a result back if both players played the same value. So that's one condition to check for, where we'll see if there are no results back from our query. I'm actually going to update this right now, and instead of doing what we did here, I'm going to say evaluate, load outcome, right? Load outcomes is null. We shouldn't get anything back. So therefore it would be a tie. So I'm glad we're talking through this and fixing stuff. Otherwise we would find this later and I would be confused and sad. So in the condition of a tie, we just update the outcome to indicate that each side was a tie in those cases. Got a bug in here somewhere. Cause performance. Yeah. It thinks that so the flow's trying to tell me, like, hey, you're querying for something that you already have, but I kind of need to get more information out. So I'm not going to stress that too much. And let's run this thing. So let's see if we can rewind some of our sample data here, and let's see how we do. We've got, now I'm a super admin. I can see everything in the system. This is not normal, but we just want to prove the point that our flow is working as expected. So I'm going to use the game that we have in here as an example, and I want to see, let's see, I actually want to see the status out on this view for the player move. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. We've got that up. We've got that up there at the top. So each player record has a status. So they've both played right now. Let's rewind a little bit. Let's say let's set it up so that you two played. They played rock. We know that. Let's have player 2 not have played yet. Let's simulate that scenario. So I actually want to I want to delete this player move. I'm going to change this status to pending. And I just realized it's a little trickier for us to simulate this, because we're only running this on creation. So that's okay. We can, excuse me. That's okay. We should just be able to delete this. So let's delete PM2. Delete our move. Okay, our move is gone. Refresh this. So now this player should not have a move yet. The status does not respond to deleting, because this isn't really a condition that we would ever have occur. Okay, so now player 2 is pending. There's no move. I'm going to play scissors. And what I'm doing here is precisely why we want to have this in a, oops, that's not the user, that's the player. This is precisely why we want to have this in a automation instead of manually having to create this. Our move is going to be scissors because we want to lose. So when I insert this, my flow should fire, and player 1 should be determined as the winner, and this player should be determined as the loser. Let's see how we do. Oh wait, we didn't actually save it. Yeah, okay. Oh, whoops. It would have helped if I actually... I forgot to save my move. Okay. Let's see. What were they? What did we call moves? Or player moves, or PM... Nope. Okay, now we're in the debug console. Let's not do that. That would be 3. Okay, so we have player move, scissors, and we did not get the effect that we were looking for, so let's see if we can find out why. Let's do this. Let's run through that again. Delete our player move. So we'll reset player 2 again. Put it back to pending. Okay. Now let's run again. I think maybe I feel like I missed a step along the way here, or I did something or did not do something that I needed to. All right, player 2's move is scissors. And let's just open a debug log or a dev console here so we can see some logs come through if we get them. All right, how did we do here? We got... Just want to check my entry condition for this flow. It runs against all of them. Only runs when a player move is created. So it is activated. And let's see. Taking a look at our logs here. I think what I'll do, because I might be messing this up in the, I gotta turn up some debugs here. This is a little, not quite much to tell us here. Let's check our debug levels. See if we can turn our workflow way up. That might help. And then I'm just gonna write a write a quick script that deletes the latest player move, and then we'll insert a new one for ourselves. So let's delete select ID from player move, order by created date, descending, limit 1. So that'll get rid of our latest move, so we can speed this up a little bit. And then we can insert new player move. The player, I'm just going to hard code some, let's hard code a couple Salesforce IDs in here. Okay, and then our move is scissors in this case. I just got to go find that. Okay, so hopefully this will kick off the way we were expecting it to. And let's run that and see how we did. Okay, so we should have deleted well, it thinks we tied. We definitely did not tie. Let's see, what did it do to player 1? Okay, did not evaluate player 1. So our logic is a little bit off here. Let's see if we have... Here's our log. So what did we do? We got rid of our player move. We created a new player move. It started our trigger here. So we got the other player. Here's the other player data. We can see that the other player did play. So if the other player played, then the played status is true. So we're going down. If I follow this along, we're going down here. We're loading the other player's move. So we have the move. This is the player move, right? The player move record. So we loaded that in. There's the move. And then we load our outcomes. And let's see. We load our outcomes. Do we find an outcome? It looks like maybe we didn't. We should have gotten, let's see. Load outcomes. I don't think we got anything in load outcomes. I think that was our problem right here. Load other player move, which is what we did up above. Right, we're loading a player move where the player equals the ID from get other player, which get other player is loading a player. The game is the incoming player moves players game. And the ID equals record player. Okay, that should work. But obviously it's not. So let's see. What are we missing? We get to the point of where we see that, let's see, where's our decision? Other player status. Other player status played, right? That's our, oops, wrong one. Other player status played. That's where we are. So we're going down the played path. Pending false, played true, pending false, played true. Okay. We load up the other player move. This makes sense. Let's take a look at our other, the ID of the, what would be player one's move. Let's see, A04. Hold on. It looks like maybe this is our problem. Because I'm coming in as player 2. So this is the record, right? AAI, but then I'm getting the same record back. So I'm not loading the other player. I think I'm reloading the current player. So when we get other player, we need game equals the game. The ID does not equal this current player. So hopefully that would get us the one record that we were just reloading ourselves, hence we were tying. So yeah, of course we would tie if we were evaluating ourselves. Let's see if that fixes everything. I should be able to activate and rerun my, what I should do here is actually, let's take a look at player 1. So okay, we're good here. They played. That's the state that we want that to be in. Ultimately, this should change to 1, right? In this case. And then also we should be moving something up, a status up in the game. I don't know if we're doing that right now. I think we have to update the game status to finished. So, all right, let's see. That should be good. Now, if we rerun our script here, we should get what we need. Execute with editor contents. Okay. Let's see how we did this time. Up to the game. Related records. All right, winner and loser, but it didn't write my... It didn't write my move. Oh, because I didn't associate with the game. You ninny? No, wait. That shouldn't matter. The player is associated with the game. Where did our... Let's see if we got our record here. I'm just going to query for player moves. Yeah, it should be there. So let's look at the details on this record. I feel like we didn't fill something out. No, it knows about its player. That's super weird. How does it not know? Oh, because we have another. That's a two-way relationship there. I wonder, do we need that? 'Cause, I mean, technically you could have multiple with this, you could have multiple player moves because the player record is the parent. I'm trying to recall, why did I make a dual relationship there? I mean, it does make it a little easier over here to see what the move was. If I can go just pick the that latest, this move is that move that we should be populated with here. I'm trying to think if we, let's see. We want to manage security. In order to manage security the way we want to, we need a different object, and we want it to be independent. But do we need it in the long term? Do we actually need a lookup to player move in addition to a lookup on player to player move, right? Is what we have right now. We have a lookup on player to player move and a lookup on player move to player. And I don't know if we need the one on the player object. I think I just put it there for visibility's sake, but we really don't need, I don't think we need to do that. I'm going to leave it there for now, but I'm suspicious about whether or not we'll need it. So anyway, all of that said, how did we do? Let's get back to the game that was played. So here's the game. We do have a status that we need to update at the end of all of this, but we can see that player 1 was the winner, player 2 was the loser, and yay. That did a thing. So now let's update our flow so that we can update the status of the game. So I put 3 statuses in here. Pending obviously is self-explanatory. Completed, I think, to me means that we have a winner, and and then tie means we had a tie. So I don't know if completed makes sense. Maybe it's more like decision, decided, completed. We'll go with completed for now. But hey, if y'all got a better word for for what we're trying to do here, I'm all ears. Let's go back to the flow. Down here, in these cases, we're going to update the we're going to update the status as winner. And in this case, we're going to update the game status as tie. So, we don't want to update the triggering record, but we do want to update. Let's update a record. Update game status to tie. We're going to update a game. Nope, not the share, just the game. And we're going to, the ID of that is equal to the record, the incoming record game. I'm sorry, the incoming record player's game. We can use that as a reference, and then we'll set the status to tie. Okay, and then I'm going to copy this, and then we can paste that down here. And let's change this, update game status to completed, because we have a winner. Same conditions, just change this. There we go. Save new version. And activate. All right, and so now we should be able to do all the same stuff, but with a, just going to refresh this because I populated that field. I'm trying to recall if a formula, what I would like to do, if we get rid of this player move, I think that's fine, but I would like to surface what was played here, even if it's just a formula. And the status is already here, so the player move, it would be nice to have a move here as a lookup, or maybe even we populate it with a lookup to the move. I think that's the question, right? Like, we want to show somewhere on the player here, what was your move? So we could just do a lookup do a formula that has the name of the move that they played, assuming that won't populate or be visible until the record that indicates what move it was is shown to the, or is shared with the player. Or maybe we don't have to share it, right? Maybe we just simply have player move lurking under the hood, and then it's not until our actions up above that we actually populate a move lookup on the player record. I like that. I kind of like that, because then it's because then it's like, all right, now that information's like public, right? And it's almost like the player move record almost doesn't matter. We just use it for privacy until it's time, right? And the only time is when the flow says it's time. I kind of like that. We don't really even need player move records at all, which is interesting. Yeah, talking myself into that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to add let's go to a player object. Let's look at the fields. And then let's add, I think we had a move lookup on here at one point. So let's populate that again with move. And do our hocus pocus here. Hopefully before the end of the stream we can get a third user in this org that we can apply some security to, look from both perspectives and make sure that we're not exposing anything to them. I'm still operating in super admin mode here, so all right, we'll still make this RPS admin. That was on our player object. I really do think that the player move does not, so if we do this, there's no reason to have a lookup on the player object back to the player move. So I'm gonna propose that we just get rid of that. I don't think this is useful. It just causes some confusion. So the question is, can I get rid of it? Or is it referenced somewhere in our flow? It is not. So okay. So we have player move. We've updated this so that the status will the game status will update, and then we need to update the we need to do a little bit of work on each of these. So we're updating the incoming player. We want to take the player move, so because we're updating the player record now, so we want to set move. Oh wait, I got to refresh this because it still thinks we're looking at the old schema. Okay, so I'll go back down here. Now we should have our new, so we're going to set status, and we're also going to set move to, this is the incoming player, so we can just take the record, take its move, and drop it in here. This is only running in system context, so nobody else can do nobody else can do anything with this. This isn't something that gets driven. It gets prompted by a end user, but this is going to run in system context. There will be no other way to interact with these fields that we're dealing with here, because a player, an RPS player, which is a permission set we don't have yet, but we will, will have read-only access to that move field on the player record. So they could go look at the other player's record, but they won't see anything. So I think we've got this right. This is the incoming. If this is the incoming player, then I'm just going to copy the move onto there, and we're done with that. And then let's do the same here. We'll set move to the other player, get other player, or the get other player move. Set that move. All right. Set the game status to tie. We've got to do this a few more times. Incoming player. There's probably a more elegant way to do this, because no matter what, I'm copying these two fields. So I probably could, I could readjust this so that this isn't quite as redundant, but I'm not going to stress it too much. It's still dynamic enough that if we added other moves with outcomes, we would still, we wouldn't have to do this again. Go to player move dot move. It does feel like Groundhog Day a little bit though. One more. There we go. All right, so with all of that, we do need to save our we need the player move, but it's really like a temporary object to manage the state privately until it's time to publicize and share, hey, here's what we did, here were the outcomes. I guess what would be up for debate is when a game is over, do you really need the player move records anymore? I suppose we can keep them around, but that's up for that's up for debate. The other thing that's nice here is we don't need to do any sharing. Like because this is running in system context, I've got user 1 creating a record that user 2 can't see, and vice versa. And only when each of those records is created, the system is then saying, it's evaluating them and surfacing the information that we need to see. The alternative I thought we were going to have to do is share those player move records with the 2 players. But sharing's no fun, especially managing it manually like that in a very dynamic way. So I don't think we'll have to do that now. But now the drum roll here is we should rewind our game and make sure that it actually still performs the way that we need it to. So let's see, what do we need? We need, this is player 1's move. We're going to leave that one. Let's go back to the player. We're still going to set this to played because they did play their move. This should go away. We shouldn't see that once we save this. In fact, let me refresh that. It should just be gone completely off the UI. That's okay, gone. Now the move is here because I'm an admin. I can edit it because I'm an admin. That's not going to happen with when we have our other users here. All right, so that's player 1's in good shape. Player 2, we need to also rewind. So let's set their status to pending. And then let's delete this move. Whoops. Okay, so now they have made no move. I actually don't need to make this call. I just need to make this call. So let's insert our move for this for player 2. And hopefully everything goes off the way we expect it. Okay. Let's see what happened. Did we get a move for player 2? I gave away the farm there. We got a move. The details of the player. It was determined that they were the loser. Scissors has been populated, and the game has been moved forward to completed. Yay! It's working. It's doing what it should do. Groovy. Interesting concepts in this by using sort of like a shadow object to run the transaction privately, using flow to manage in system context, and then only surfacing the information that's necessary at the will of the system context of the flow. So it's going to make our sharing a lot easier. We have to decide if we want to keep the player move or not. It's kind of nice for auditing purposes. Yeah, because this is a super regulated environment in rock paper scissors. But hey, it's working. There's a few optimizations we could do here, right? If we're at the end of a game, even before I evaluate the outcome, I think I could move that move call. I could have two of those up here, and it would save a little bit of calling that's happening here. But I think it's not that big a deal. We're never going to have to do that again now that with the way we've set this up. Okay, cool. So that just fires. Now let's rewind because we need something to do this, right? We need to be able to create a new game and let a user pick who they want to compete with. So I think that's another flow that has context of who you are coming in as, and then deciding who you want to play against, not yourself, and that's that. So let's build that flow next. So we're good with player move. Let's pull all this down so we don't lose anything. We did get rid of a field there. We got rid of the player move lookup on the player. We're just relying on the child relationship. Like I said, hypothetically, you could have multiple player moves inadvertently as... Uh-oh. Could not find force fields move. Oh boy. Well, I'm not gonna lose a ton of sleep debugging that with you guys on the stream here. But this is just fun, usual funnery that sometimes we run into with DX. What is it complaining about? Could not find player fields move. Well, I don't know why you couldn't. Where couldn't you find it? The objects? Player fields. Yeah, so something's not being tracked. I'll go monkey about with that later. We'll do that before we get the new code up. But let's make this new flow. This is a new RPS game. For now, I'm going to make this a screen flow, but I have a feeling I'm going to repurpose this screen flow to have a front end, which is what we're going to build first, so we can just go make a game. But I could see piggybacking off of the logic in this to make the game, make the players, based on some parameters that come in that could be called from another flow, from some Apex. Like, I've got some bigger thoughts around like how do you run a rock paper scissors tournament, or how do you create rock paper scissors kind of dynamically based on, I don't know, two salespeople that want to own an opportunity or something goofy like that. We can do those things, but and I think this screen flow will give us a place to build the logic that we need for an auto launched flow later. But we'll do it all in one shot as a screen flow to start. Okay, so let's get going. So what we're going to do is we need to evaluate the first user, the incoming user. So let's say rock, paper, scissors, fight. Okay. Big bold text. And we'll say select your challenger name. We'll figure that out in a minute. And we're going to use a pick list. Maybe a lookup. Should we do a lookup in case you got a bunch of people in your... Well, I don't really want to do a lookup because then you could pick yourself, which is weird. But we could probably... Yeah, we could do that. It's all good. Let's do that. Let's see. Let's call it user lookup. choose your opponent. I guess maybe we don't need this here, right? So we can put that in there. So the field, these are always fun to set up. So I need, we can pretend that this is, this would be a player, right? Right, and then the field we're looking to fill is user. Oops. All right, choose your opponent, search people. We don't have a record ID. This should be required. And I don't think there's any way to. So we're just going to have to react like on the next page to be like, hey dummy, you can't play yourself. But rock paper scissors. Let's be a little less combative and say go. Okay. Choose your opponent. Got it? Decision. Pick yourself? Question mark. Pick yourself, yes. So if user ID, I'll go back and fix that merge field also. If the user ID equals user lookup record ID, then we did a dumb thing and chose ourselves. We'll come back and fix that in a second. Can I put merge fields in the... maybe we could say welcome to rock, paper, scissors, comma, user first name, exclamation point. Groovy. Okay, if you picked yourself, that was dumb. We're gonna tell you that was dumb. One does not simply battle themselves in RPS. Choose another opponent. We don't want a next. We don't want a pause. Let's use a custom label for this. You know, my apologies. I forgot that you can label those however you want now. Oh, this is going to be way more fun. Okay, we're not going to pause. There is no previous here. Let begin battle. Begin battle, exclamation point. Okay. This is, what is this? New RPS game. Okay. All right, if you pick yourself, that's dumb. We'll send you back. If you didn't pick yourself, then we'll continue on with, we have to create some stuff, right? We got to create the game. Create a game. How many records to create? Just one. So we'll create a game object. Not really many fields on this. And the status should default to pending. Let's make sure that's the case. Yep. All right, so we don't really even need to set that. I have a feeling, though, it's going to make me set some field here, or it's going to yell at me. Well, maybe not. Now, I have run into this before where if you don't set anything on the record, you don't really end up with a record. So let's, I know it's redundant, but we're going to set that anyway. I feel like I ran into that way back in the Forceopoly days. Okay, so we've got going to create a game. We're going to create we'll create player 1. We'll have the incoming user be player 1 and whoever they picked as player 2. The user is current user. And I don't think there's much else for us to... Oh, the game, right? The game is what we just created in create game. Okay. We're going to insert that. And then I'm going to copy that. And we'll create player 2. And this user is going to be the user lookup record ID. So we inserted those two. And then I guess the only question left to ask is, does this person want to play their, make their move? Let's see, screen 3, I think. The arena, the RPS arena awaits you. What is your move? Very dramatic. Let's break a new line there. Now we just need to pick our move. What move? So we're gonna insert a player move here next. I feel like we just kind of have to, do that. So let's get rid of pause. I feel like there's no previous at this point either. Like, we're not going to go back and do anything. The finish is on guard. Cool. But you got to pick a move. So let's see. We could do another lookup here, I think, or we could just make it a pick list. Yeah. There's not that many moves. Boom. Make your move. Pick list, new choice. Let's make it a record choice. These are the move options. We're gonna get a move object. I'm gonna type it because scrolling is no fun. Here's our move. I'm gonna get all of the move records, no limit. The label is the name of the move, and the value is the ID of the move. And I'm not going to store anything more. So there's my move options. Not going to pick a default value. We should make this required. We did. All right. I like exclamation points, so I'm going to have this say make your move exclamation point. And then we have one more screen, I think, that tells us that, you know, you're done. Oops, this is DT, what, 4, I think? Sure. Let's do user first name plays and move options. Wait. Let's see, make your move, right? That was our plays make your move. Your opponent user lookup record name. I feel like we could just use first name in that. But maybe, maybe let's do this. We'll make it full name. Your opponent record name has been called to battle. Has been summoned to answer the call to battle. Stay tuned. Dun dun dun. Okay, so what did we do? We showed a screen that made some stuff happen. Now we actually have to, let's insert a player move record. Create player move, just one. We'll make a player move where player equals, this will be player 1. And then their move is their move was make your move. I feel like I'm gonna have to do something different there because I want the. Oh well, actually here, yeah. Let's do. So that's going to be the ID. That's the value. But let's go back to here and modify. Let's modify move options. We'll store. Let's store the name of the move into a variable called selected move name because we want to show that on the screen. There we go. Okay. And that is here, I think. Yeah. So let's render that instead. There we go. Player 1 plays selected move name. Your opponent's person has been summoned to answer the call to battle. Stay tuned. Groovy. Save. Let's debug. I'm excited at all the nonsense that's going to be put on screen here. No input variables, just run. Welcome to Rock Paper Scissors. UI is my user's first name. Choose your opponent. I'm gonna do the dumb thing here and make sure that this this works. That didn't work at all. It definitely just created a game where I'm playing myself, I think. Create player one. Let's see, what did we do here? Skipped because it's conditions, pick yourself. Oh, look at that. Isn't that interesting? See the difference? Huh. The user ID context is 15 characters. The user lookup record ID is 18 characters. So I'm going to bail on this, and I want to do, I did not know that. Let's do this. Let's say starts with, let's flip this around, right? We want to say, does user lookup record ID starts with user ID. That's a interesting little tidbit there. Not all IDs are created equal. I'm surprised by that, to be honest, because it's, why wouldn't it evaluate to 18 characters, or why wouldn't the other one evaluate to 15? But that's how it goes. We probably have a Renegade game out here somewhere now. Let's see. Yep, there's game 2, and it has me playing myself. So we can probably get rid of the whole game. I just want to check our sharing rules. When a player looks up to game, how does it look up? It looks up as a lookup. Okay, cool. That's what I was hoping for, because if the game, if player looked up to game as a, I guess that doesn't matter. I guess it could be a master detail now, because we're not creating, we kind of don't care. So that might be an update to make. Okay, I want this flow, this new RPS game, to run without. I want it to run in system context, so it has full access. Before we forget that, or this will definitely not work when it's time to actually play. All right, let's debug it again. Now we should block. Pick myself. One does not simply battle themselves in RPS. Choose another opponent. Okay, go back. I feel like there's a better way to do this. Well, yeah. We could, can we? No, I don't think you can filter a lookup. Maybe that's coming in winter 22 or 23. All right, let's pick. This is the only other user in the system. Okay, the game is set. The arena awaits you. What is your move? User 1. I will play Scissors. On guard. U1 player Scissors. Your opponent U2 has been summoned to answer the call to battle. Stay tuned. Very good. All right. Let's go look at our records. Here we are, game 3. Status pending. Player 1, player 2. Player 1 has played. And if we look at the data under the hood, we're not exposing the move yet, but the system does have the move accounted for. So now the next question is, how the heck does user 2 know that they have been called to battle? We gotta let them know, right? We could the simple answer would be make a players tab and then show, my pending games, right? That would have every player record that that belongs to them. That's probably easiest. We could certainly do a notification. We could do a pop-up in the utility bar. Let's start simple. We'll make a player. Let's make a players tab, and then we can make a list view that shows everything that's pending for that player. But I'm sure we can do much more interesting things than that at some point. Just to give us a view into what this could all kind of look like. Oh, what to pick? Boring, people. Come on. Gonna hide that everywhere and add it to RPS, maybe. This has been really finicky today. I was in a couple other orgs and like the save button on the tab, like it was giving no indication as to whether or not something was going on or not. Let's since this feels good, I'm going to activate this. We've got to figure out how to call this somewhere. It probably would make sense to override the new action on game, right? There's probably no reason not to step through what we just built if you run a new game. But first, let's update our permissions set so we can see. Okay, this is, where did we do that? We made a player tab. Make sure we can actually see it. And we can. So now let's just make a new list view called my calls to battle. We could probably just make a tab that shows this. We wouldn't necessarily need the to show the players tab, because I could see players tab being like kind of confusing. Like what the heck does that, what does that mean? But for now, all users can see this. Then we need to put this into context for the current. Now, we didn't set owner on these. That might be the easiest way to just say, hey, this is your record. Does that make sense? If we change the model from game to, I think we can set a filter where user. Well, I probably should add I think I'm going to add a field, a formula field on the player record that does that for me, because I don't think I can. Let's see, where user equals, yeah, I can't put dynamic values in there, so that's fine. Let's make a field on player. Just make a formula that's a checkbox, and we'll call it is current user. and then we'll just evaluate the same thing as before, right? But only it worked. So is this, is the current user ID equal to the user field on the record? Okay. Don't think we need it on the layout. Let's go back to our permission set and make sure that we can see that. Here we go. Now we'll go back over to our players. My calls to battle. And let's edit the filters. This will be all player records. And whoops, his current user equals true. Done. Save. Okay, so that filtered that down for us. Now let's adjust what fields we're going to display. Let's show what game this is in. We probably just want game status equals pending, right? Actually, we probably just want status. Can I do this? Right. We have a couple games, a couple player records that have been orphaned. I'm just going to delete these. That is a good case for having player be a roll up on or be a master detail with game. But we'll see. That might not be enough of a. We could also just have an after delete action on the game. Okay, so these are the games that this person's involved with. I really want to put. I want to be able to put an action here that would let them go, play, or pick their, make their move. Maybe we make a. It would be nice to see their opponent here. I wonder. I think we could do that. I think we could put something up on the game. No, these are player records. So on the player record itself, we could have a field that shows their opponent. I think. Do a little hocus pocus. Can we say that? Yeah. So can we do that? Player. I don't know if we can do that. Well, what we could do, we could have a lookup generated when we create the new game that has a link. Just put an opponent field on the player object and have them, look at each other. That again, it's a little bit redundant, but that would be the easiest way for this player to see who their opponent is. Even if we did a formula field to show the name at that point, that would probably work. And I don't think I would ever expose that opponent field. Yeah, let's do that. I kind of like that. So we'll do a lookup to a player. We'll call this opponent. Let's call this opponents. I'm not going to put that on the layout, but I am going to, I'm not going to put that out there either because that will be confusing. But we will then create a, so I have the opponent lookup, so now let's make a formula that has the opponent's name, right? Opponent name, and we'll make that text. So this is the player, opponent, user, not username, like where's just username? Where's name? Do I have to do first? I have to do first name and last name, right? Yeah. First name. And last name. Here we go. Did I do that right? Yep. We can put that on the player layout. And technically it's a user, but I'm going to just look to the opponent or to the player. Okay, so now we've got that. We still have to update our permission set. 2 new fields here. All right, and then back to our new game flow. We need to create player 1, create player 2. We need to refresh this because we won't have the information we need. We're going to do a create and then a quick update, like immediately behind this of player 1. So create player 2, new field, opponent equals player ID from create player 1. Okay, and then we're going to do turn around and do a quick update of update player 1 opponent. I can't type. We'll specify the conditions. We're updating a player record. The ID is the ID from create player 1. And we're going to set opponent to the ID of create player 2. Okay, got all that. New version. And we'll activate that. And let's make, let's see, we made game 3. Let's make a new game. Maybe. Choose your opponent. I'd like to. Pick you 2. Begin battle. I will play scissors again. Okay. What do we got? Game 4. Players. Did I put the opponent? Did I put the opponent name out here? I can't remember. Let's see. I thought I did. There it is. Opponent name. Yep. Okay, so this is a player. This is the opponent. Groovy. Now I go back over here. I can look at my calls to battle, and I can select the fields. I want to see the opponent name. And these ones don't have anything. I also want to filter this to only where status is pending. Let's see. Did that? I feel like I just added something here that threw things off. So the game 4, player. Because I played. I don't have anything. I don't have anything to wait for, right? Because I made my play at that time. Now this is so that whole new game process is me as a player wanting, picking a fight with somebody. We will probably have a condition where we don't want to do the tail end of that. We just want to take as an input 2 players, and that would generate a game. And that would mean that I've got 2 records that are 2 player records that are pending in that case. So we could make a few more list views here, right? So we could, I don't even know if you need to know the game in terms of calls to battle. You just want to make your plays, right? But my calls to battle. Let's edit this. This is these are like pending moves. Actually, we don't even need to do that. Let's duplicate this and say my my opponent approaches. So this would be where I have played, and I'm just still waiting. And then we could have my my victories, right? And let's make one more, my defeats. I don't like my opponent approaches. Maybe we'll change the name of that one. Oh, we probably should do one for ties too, right? What would you call that? My stalemates. There we go. Okay. Lots of views. Maybe we can throw them all on another tab that is kind of a dashboard for for the current user. Let's do that real quick. Let's go to Lightning App Builder. Let's make this an app page, embedded service page. Ooh, cool. Maybe for another day. This is my RPS arena. Maybe we just call it RPS arena. This would also be a good place where you could just go pick a fight. Right? Header in 3 regions? Sure, let's do that. I don't really even need a header for now. If we do, we'll change it. So let's do list view. The object is player. And the filter is my calls to battle. I don't really need the search bar in that case. Do we want to enable inline edit? We can show more records too. Let's do 5. And hide list view action bar. This thing is part of the component. We're going to need to render something so that we can like actually take action from here. So my calls to battle, let's do my opponent approaches. Can we let's see, if we swap that, right? Will it render? I basically want the player's name or the opponent's name to appear first. We don't even necessarily need the game. My opponent approaches. Okay, next. My victories. You can always click more to see more stuff, right? So we could put some stats out here, you know, lifetime winnings and stuff like that. And then let's put one more here. We'll figure out how to balance this and make it look decent. This is a nice, easy way, though, to get some data out here. My defeats. We'll put the outcomes in this right column. And this is my stalemates. I have not been clicking hide search bar here. All right, let's save that. Activate that. We need to change that icon because let's make it a heart. Probably need something else like a hammer or scissors. Are there scissors? Electric bolt. Yeah. Let's activate for sysadmins only. We're going to put this in, we'll add this to RPS, put it right at the top. Maybe it's just arena. Maybe that's what we want to call it. I'm still going to have to go grant access to that, which I think it's basically a tab now, if I remember right. All right. Kind of ugly, but does the thing. Let's go back to object settings because we need to find RPS Arena, and we need to grant access to this. We should have access to all the list views in that page now. So let's refresh this. There's the arena. Okay, yep. There's nothing in my calls to battle. When records are added to this list view, you'll see them here. Nothing, nothing. I do have a victory, although it's an old record. Not bad. We could do better. But for now, this gets the point across. Now, if I click on this record, it's going to take me to a player record. Now that's me. I have already played, right? So I don't have any calls to battle. What I want to be able to do is from calls to battle, click through and then do something, or even better, just have a action that can be included in this view. I wonder, because it seems like these just want to link like wholeheartedly to the record itself. Right. I can go here. Can I? I don't know if I can go here. I can go there and get to the list view. So this is a little clunky. We can probably clean this up. Honestly, we could make some pretty quick work of this, with a Lightning Web component that could basically do all of these. I think just render them the way we need them to. And yeah, we can do that. We can do that another time. Okay, what else have we got here? So where are we? We are. Well, what I should do is log in as user 2, right? So let's do that a second. Before I do that, I'm gonna overgrant permissions to user 2, because I think the next thing we're going to need to do is dumb down these permissions, right? There's two. They are user 1 and user 2 can see everything right now. We don't want that, particularly around the player moves. So, but even that's going to be easier. We just make the player moves private. There's really not much else about it at that point. We make them private in the sharing rules, and we grant full access in the permission set to the admin. We take some things away to make most of these objects read-only to players, and that's that. The only bummer is if you're a sysadmin, you really can't play rock paper scissors. I'm sure we can figure out a way to do that, but with great power comes great responsibility. Okay, so there's user 2. They can see more stuff than they need to. Why can't I log in as this user? Oh, I didn't turn that on, right? Where do you turn that? I haven't had to turn that on in about a million years. Login access policies? Administrators can log in as any user? Sure, let's try that. Okay, logging in as user 2. They are in the arena. This is the one valid call to battle that they have. I would love for them to just be able to make their move from here. Yeah, this is okay, but I think some we're probably getting into like some LWC to clean this up, because it would be nice to just like, my calls to battle. User, you won in the game, whatever. Someday, maybe in as part of the tournament of whatever, and then you just make your play from there, and then it can immediately tell you if you won or not. That seems like a good place to, to maybe pick up next time. So we will add to the backlog. I will figure this out because it's kind of annoying. So I think we solved privacy. So let's look toward, let's look at backlog for next time, right? We're gonna create the RPS user permission set. We're gonna build an LWC to LWC for RPS Arena, so it's easier to just play right from there. LWC for RPS Arena, and then we'll start talking about like tournament, right? Tournament play. And then we also talked about having to expand new game flow, so it's not, it's not always not always end user initiated. That all seems like really good stuff for next week, and I will figure out why we can't pull from this. I'm gonna try just one more time for fun. It should break again, but let's find out. You usually have to dig around in the tracking. And there we go. Okay, everything's fine. Just kidding. We'll push this all into the repo as part of today's episode. Let's push all this, and we'll say episode 14. I think we're episode 14 right now. I think so. I hope so. I should look that up. So that was episode 14. Here's all of our stuff. We will commit and push. Latest and greatest, rock, paper, scissors, headed for the repo. And I'm going to call it a few minutes early. We got about 15 minutes, but rather than get something started, let's close it up. Chat is pretty quiet, so thank you for hanging out, and we'll see you next time. And I will figure out how to turn off my stream. And